Hey guys, what is up? My name is Sakura, and I'm joined here by Shiba, and this
Hello.
is the very first episode of our podcast, Sugoi Saga. Yay!
I'm waving as if you can see me. But yes, we're gonna talk today about animes that got stale along with some games. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
Yep, some good stuff in there.
But also before we started, we were talking about Dragon Ball, and I think that would be a pretty good entry to start with.
That's definitely the one I think of when I think of anime that's a little stale.
I've never like everybody always tells me like, Joey, you like big anime fights and you like dudes punching each other. Why don't you like the grandfather of all of them and like Dragon Ball? And it's like, I don't know, because honestly, I liked Dragon Ball back when it was like kind of like a weird like sort of Journey to the West type thing, you know, in actual Dragon Ball.
Yeah, before Z.
I like that better because it had a good focus of like being like funny gag manga and like just also having like actual martial arts, not like yeah, there was ki blasts, but like it was very like subdued in a way, and like there was also like humans could actually do things in there. I like that better because it gave the sort of air that like, oh yeah, anybody can do anything, like anybody could be Goku. But now it's just sort of like, whoa, better hope you're a Saiyan, you know?
It's at the point, I think, where it's kind of similar in Sailor Moon, where like they both started a lot of trends with anime like shoujo and shonen anime, and they seem very stale and dated now. But they did start a lot of trends, but using those same formulas and trends now is a little repetitive, I guess.
Yeah, because like I think remembering that Naoko Takeuchi, she like, I think it was said for the time Sailor Moon was considered like a deconstruction, I think, and like it was considered revolutionary because no one's ever done a thing like that. You had shit like Cutie Honey and like
there was a lot of really
Cutie Honey was before that.
Yeah, it was 70s. Before that there was a lot of really heavily marketed ones like Creamy Mommy, Magical Emi.
There were. It's like in the Toku fandom, people know that they're being marketed to by Kamen Rider, but
exactly,
but like they know they're being marketed. Yeah, the guy just so happens to pull out a sword that's perfectly the size of a children's toy and is all high res looking, but it's like, no, it's his new power up. You guys don't get it. I know that they used to do that with Magical Girl animes too, where they would like, whenever she would pull out like a new rod or something, it would be all drawn and like very highly detailed and like higher. It would be the highest res thing in the whole anime.
So and the toy makers can replicate it, of course.
Can really get it's like, that wasn't for you. That's for the toy makers. That's for Toei. You know, that's for Bandai over there. But now just Magical Girls are just about like, you guys like Madoka? Well, I hope you do, because that's what we're going to make for the next 20 years.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of really good Magical Girl anime that came after.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
What's one? Cardcaptor Sakura. That's definitely a good one for me. But yeah, going back to the point, like, I think that these old anime, they started the trend.
Yeah.
And they started they got a lot of really good stuff going, but it's just kind of stale now. Just repetitive. It's iconic, but it's not innovative anymore, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like I'm not very well versed on Akira Toriyama. From what I hear is that he kind of just he's one of those what you call a garden writer, where he just kind of plants seeds and hope they mean something, you know. He'll just bring in plot points and just hope they go somewhere, you know.
Yeah, no, his naming schemes are kind of like that too. And before we go forward, I don't want to like we're not like shitting on the fan base at all.
I'm not, you know, just forewarning, we're not. I recognize that yes, Dragon Ball is a very iconic series. You know, action series would not be the same without it at all. You know, Goku is like the prototypical shonen action hero for like any manga. You wouldn't have guys like Asta or Naruto or Luffy even. I think like Oda was actually a huge fan of Toriyama, as you could tell in his art style, being very round and
cartoony,
and cartoony. So yeah, like most definitely. But you know, but it's also like, well, it's also like slow your roll. Just because it's iconic doesn't mean I can't say shit about it. You know.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so, like, just long story short, we're not shitting on it if you guys like Dragon Ball. We're just talking about our own opinions and what we think has gotten a little stale in terms of anime and manga out there. So, just a heads up, we're not, directing it directly at anyone listening.
Yeah, most definitely. Don't want to rob you of your experiences and the like.
But Shiba, what anime do you think are the most, aside from Dragon Ball, of course, what do you think are the most stale? Like, is there anything you've watched recently that perhaps you loved at first and it just got kind of meh later on?
Okay, it's more of a manga really, but I used to really like Hitman Reborn. For the people that are with me that read the manga, you know what I'm probably gonna be talking about. And the anime, it kind of just ended. Like, he came back from the future arc, and it literally pans up to the sky, and it's like, that's it. Go read the manga, I guess. And, like, I think Suna says, like, wow, sure is great to be back home, isn't it, Reborn? And then they pan to the sky, and that's it. Final episode.
Yep, just assume everything's okay from now on. Like, whatever.
It's like, but what about isn't there, like, a mafia family? Nah, read the manga.
Nah, it's whatever. Don't worry about it.
Go read Ultra Jump, The thing I hate the most is that, I forget her name. She got to this point where, like, she would just throw in stuff because I guess she liked it at that point. Like, there was a time where, like, it's like, yeah, everybody just has motorcycles now. And literally everybody just drove those motorcycles to the next mafia fight. And that's it. They were never mentioned again. And that made me angry, because I was like, why would you crazy woman? Why would you draw these? You probably did. You probably traced a 3D model, which is good because drawing a thing like a motorcycle, very time consuming. It's just like, why would you do that just for like the one chapter? And then there's like another time where it's like, yeah, everybody just has like box weapons now and they have a little pet now, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but why?
It's marketable though.
Yeah, it's marketable. Not gonna lie, she was pretty good at that. But it's also like, okay, but like, what does that add a new layer to like the fights at all? Like, is that what layer does that add? Oh, because I thought they looked cute, and it's like, okay, I guess, and then but the thing I got the most that just made me angry was the ending to the manga. So spoilers for like a 10-year-old manga. Okay, at the end of the manga, Suna comes back from the future, and everybody's there. Suna wakes up in his room and everybody's there. Everybody from important guys, and Reborn asks him,
primary characters.
Yeah, like primary characters and the like. Just Suna asks him, like, okay, Suna, through all the fights you've had, all the people you've met, and all the lessons you've been taught, can you truly say you don't want to be the next boss of the Evangela family? And here's what I was thinking would happen. That Suna would say something like, Reborn, I actually don't need you anymore, because I know in my heart now that I'm not useless. I'm not no good Suna anymore. I have friends. I actually know how to, I know how to stand up for myself. I have friends now, and people that love me, and I know that I actually have a future somewhere. It might be with the Mafia. It might even just be an average guy. Who knows? And if he said shit like that, I would be like, dude, that's manly as fuck. I love that. And I would have been hype as shit. But no, literally fade to black. I hope you like Amino-san's next series. And I'm like, oh, this is a joke, right? This is a joke. There's gonna actually be a spin-off chapter or something. No, she made Idolive, and I hear that got canceled. And it's like, fucking what? No, you can't do that. That's wrong. You can't do that. You can't just have him just say, no, this whole series was pointless. And it's like,
yeah, I think the biggest thing with these big shonen manga is they have the huge demand to want to continuously make sure there's content and that the readers have something to read that's new and exciting. Oh, tune in next week for this new villain or this new plot point, and it's like
I don't know if you felt this way also, but whenever they would fight someone with different flames, there would be an evil guy that'd be like, ha, because I have the fire flames, you know, because of my regenerative ability, you can't touch me. And I'm like, is that what the fire flames do? When does this happen? It's is that a thing?
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of shonen manga does that, where they're like, new surprise ability, new element that the reader doesn't know about to cause suspense and distress until the next chapter comes out, like that kind of crap. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just kind of expect that from shonen nowadays.
Because I think there was like
so
Ryohei, his kangaroo guy. It's like, oh yeah, because of Kingaryu's healing pouch, I can now get back to the fight easier. And it's like, Amano, you need to tell me these things so that way I can get invested in said things. You know, like I also talk about this in my martial arts video. You know, shameless plug somewhere. Like, I have this thing with power levels, and this is sort of a thing that everybody has. Nobody likes them because at some point they just become, they kind of get arbitrary at some point. Because I think someone said in like a Daisenshu or something that like Broly is like 90 quintillion like power level, and it's like, how do you even begin to explain what a quintillion is, let alone 90 of them?
Yeah, why is that why is that even, like, at that point when you're making him that outlandish and ridiculous, like, is it even worth it at that point? Like, you're obviously just gonna create another character with a power level that's like triple that, and then nobody's keeping track. So I mean, again, it's just ways to keep it going, I guess, which inevitably makes it,
and it's also just sort of like
stale.
And it's also just sort of like, I know it's there to build suspense, and you're supposed to be like, dude, that's high number, that means he's strong. But then it's sort of like, I remember watching someone do a really good video essay on this about like, well, if you have power levels, it sort of deflates the tension in the whole fight, because it's like, oh, well, okay, so this guy's stronger than him. So mathematically,
yeah,
the
like
end.
the end.
You know, like, why should I care then? But then there's a two-way street of like, yeah, he gets his shit pushed in by him as the numbers show, or the guy's just gonna be like, yeah, actually, like, fucking, like, you know, I had a bit of dust on my screen. I actually have 3 billion power level, and then he fucking beats him. You know, so it's like, okay, well, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, no, I feel like it just gets so repetitive at that point, where like it's the same thing over and over, and then like characters just keep getting stronger, and then you just expect just like outlandish, like ridiculous crap like that, where you're so desensitized from it, I guess is my point.
Because I know Toriko was like that, if you ever read that, where they would get like,
I was kind of into Toriko for a while, but
yeah, like,
it got really repetitive. That's a good example, actually.
Like, things would be like, at first it was stuff like, yeah, food level like 20, and that was like baby corn or something, and that became like, that went on Toriko's like full course menu. And then at the end of the series, when he's eating like literal planets, it's like, dude, baby corn sucks. Can I have like this like rainbow fruit, you know? And it's like that can have all taste of anything at all times. And then like there's the guy that was like literally the embodiment of like darkness itself, evil itself, Acacia.
And like the whole food thing too, like, it's just, there's not really much you can do with that. It's a really unique thing if you just had like maybe a 24 to 50 episode series or chapter, whatever, and just left it at that. But when you drag it out, it's like, why? Like, I know they had all the characters had their goals, and that was cool, but
stuff, you know.
But they weren't exactly like the whole King of the Pirates or Hokage kind of deal, where like it's something where it makes them really.
It wasn't a goal
really develop, I guess.
Base the whole series on, because Toriko just wanted to eat. That's all he did. He's like, yeah, I want to eat good things. You know?
I mean, it's hype at first, but yeah, no, I don't get it. It's shonen anime in general. I mean, it's really easy to get
most
carried
definitely.
away with and just monotonous. So I mean, we could probably go on about shonen anime and manga forever when it comes to that. But another one I was thinking is maybe like other genres like romance stuff. I mean, it's really easy. Like, I don't know if you read a lot of like shoujo or like
the only
slice of life
I really read was Kimi no Todoke, because you kind of have to. Urusei Yatsura, but that's pretty old. So like, yeah, it's more of a gag.
That's a
manga,
gag anime though, and it's funny.
Those are really it. I don't really read a lot of romance because I get angry at them because like. Because I get mad
really
at them.
Frustrating. I get that.
Because a lot of it is just like, I understand. It's not for me. It's not my market, you know?
Yeah, and like when you... That's a good point, because like when I was a teenager, I was like super into it and I wish they'd never end. But as an adult, I guess I got a little more jaded, and I'm just like, when the romance, like the love triangles and the miscommunication just happen over and over and over, you're just like, this is so dumb. Why can't they wrap this up? Why can't they just get together? Or like, once they start dating too, like Kimi Todoroki was kind of like that. Once they start dating, it's not really like the build up. It happens, and you're like, okay, but now what? They're happy, I guess.
It's like because that's the carrot on the stick for a romance series. It's like, okay, it's like Toradora. It's like, okay, they're together now. So what do we do? You know?
Yeah, like there's another one called Lovely Complex. It has a good hook. It's about like a really tall girl and a really short guy. It's cute, but like once they get together, like it goes on to like it's an old manga, an old anime, so like spoiler alert, but still. But the girl wants to like get into fashion and stuff, and then they make it about that. And then they just make it about like this really mundane stuff that nobody
it's just
really
sort of
signed up for. Just to drag it out.
At that point you could say, oh, the end goal is like, oh, but then they gotta get married, and then you can hype that up. And then it's like,
but they're high schoolers though. Like that's the you're gonna be reading it for years.
And then it's like, well, then it's like, okay, genius, they're married now. What are you gonna do now? Well, fuck. I guess I it's like kids, I guess. And it's
I guess.
But then it's like, okay, you can only add so many carrots to the stick before it's like, okay, now you done all you can, you know.
Yeah, you gotta have another thing going for it, like
Fruits Basket.
Fruits Basket's a good example. There's
yeah.
It has, and Oron's another
definitely.
good example. Like, there's romance, but there's also there's another plot going on at the same time. Like, the things going on with the characters. There's a bunch of characters with baggage in both of those series, and it kind of explores that. A lot of great characters, too. You gotta have, like, you have to have a cast beyond the couple, too. Or it just gets really boring, because they'll be, like just, like, side character A and B, kind of like Kimi Todoke, like, her friends. They had their own little things, but they really kind of only existed to, like, complement.
Sadako.
What's her name? Yep. It, I mean, they were kind of interesting, but it just got kind of stale after a while, because they didn't really have a lot going for them, personally. With romance, like I was saying with Fruits Basket, and, like, you have the family curse, you have the whole animal mechanic, you have the host club thing in Oron, but with these anime that are just, like, the boy and the girl, and they get together eventually, it's just, like...
it's very, very generic.
You get so...
beyond the hook.
Either very infuriated, or very bored after, like, what you want to happen happens.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's hit or miss.
And
but like you were saying, Urusei Yatsura has... It's funny, it has a lot of characters. It goes on forever, because Ataru is an idiot, and like, Lum is, for some reason, obsessed with him, but it's funny, because you're like, I don't care if they get together, it's just amusing.
And, by design, it can go on forever, because there's no real set goal. It's not like, oh yeah, it's not like To Love Ru, where it's like you have to marry her.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Where it's like, you have to marry her. And it's like, okay, I guess that's the end goal. For Urusei Yatsura, it's just sort of like, this is just it. It's a gag manga. I can do whatever I want. You know, that's sort of the freedom, but but also the constraints.
And I mean, that's not saying like comedy gag manga is easy to do. I mean,
doing comedy is
Rumiko
hard.
Takahashi's like a genius with stuff like that.
She's a fucking master.
Yeah. Oh, I know. She inspires me so much. Like, her work ethic is insane.
She's one of the she's very good at what she does, and like, hey, there's a reason why she's been in this business for like 40 years, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think that like I said, romance, it takes a specific kind of hook and a specific... There has to be more going on with the story other than just the couple, or it's just basically one-dimensional and not interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but beyond a certain point, once like they get together and there's nothing else going, like it's kind of meh.
Yeah.
What other series do you know of that carry on for way too long, or just non-shonen ones?
There is. Let me think about that.
I was gonna say I was gonna use like the record. I was gonna say like Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah.
For an anime that ended at the right time. I mean manga.
Yeah. I've noticed that's a real trend now. That like mangakas are like, yeah, that's it. I'm done. The story's over. Promise Neverland did that. Demon Slayer, because.
I think Food Wars just ended.
I think they're seeing their compatriots or their previous, like the people of the previous generation, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to have hyperarthritis. Because that's what the older generation of mangakas they're like, yeah, don't make a 30-year long series. It sounds cool, but no, don't do it. It's actually fucking terrible.
It says a lot. It says a lot about their character as
Yeah.
well. Like, instead of racking in all this money for a continued amount of time, like, they're calling it quits and they're letting themselves take their story in the direction they wanted it to go in, which I super admire Demon Slayer for.
Yeah, because with Demon Slayer, it was like, okay, after Muzan, what are they gonna do? And it's like, nobody. That's it. Muzan's the last
exactly.
one, and that's it. You know.
Yeah.
And Promised Neverland was like that until it got to a certain point at the ending, where like it's like, okay, this kind of isn't Promised Neverland anymore. But I'm not gonna spoil that stuff.
Yeah, I did a video years ago about Promised Neverland, and I was like, when it first started being serialized
Yeah.
as a manga, and I was like, it's really interesting, and it's like it's in Shonen Jump, I
Yeah,
believe,
it was
right?
in Jump. It was in the actual Jump, like not Ultra, just like actual Jump.
Yeah, and it's just so unlike anything that was available at the time. I
Yeah.
was like, this is it. This is a big
It was very
this is a big manga.
It was very good because it was very cerebral. It was very
Yeah.
It was like early Naruto where it was like a lot about tactics and like mind games and puzzles. It was very good. It was very, very good. And then it just became an action series out of nowhere. But okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably because they were pressured to at some point.
Probably.
Because once they escaped,
The
like,
farm.
what else would
Yeah,
there be?
it would be like it would be like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck it. You know, well
Have you seen Seven Seeds, the anime?
no, I have not.
It's kind of like survival based.
Yeah.
It would take forever to go into
Yeah.
the plot of it. It's kind of interesting, but I was thinking like they would possibly go for with Promised Neverland. They probably would go with like a survival kind
Yeah,
of
like
thing.
a death game
and just
type.
like and stay kind of dark and interesting, but it
yeah, it's like
it just didn't really
because
it didn't really meet my
I
expectations.
would have liked it if it took a death game approach, and it's like okay, you're in the demon world now, like the house can't protect you anymore. You're in our world now, and like I would like that to be like, okay, the game begins, you know. And it's like
that would have been
that would like if I saw that, I would be like, dude, that's fucking hype as shit. Like I would, but
exactly.
but it's also just like there was a series got canceled. It only had like I think 2 chapters or something, but it was like I don't know
Was
the
it that
name.
acting one?
I don't know the name of it, but it was an older. It was a jump start, and it had like 2 chapters where like it was like a city. It was like a society where like adults rule everything, and like kids are starting an uprising. The kid had like sewing powers or something. It was very strange.
Is
And I was like, oh, this sounds cool, but then it got canceled, so it never got picked up. So
Is that the one with the actors that the the mangaka was was canceled because of the child porn? crap?
no.
Do you know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
talking
Act
about?
Age, but that's a different one.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
That's the manga where they where the girl takes on, you know, what's it called when you act like your character? Method
acting?
Yeah, where someone's like, "Hey, you should join the acting club and and become a method actor." I've heard like I've only read a couple, and I just kind of was like, I'm not really into this. But I heard that like at some
Yeah, it didn't seem very very interesting when I read
like
it.
manga is a very strange medium because you need to you need to do something to where it's like you need to make the main character look cool for a little while, and it's like, okay, if it's not about fights or whatever, it's very strange. Because there's a guy that was like there's a manga that was like a guy that was like a really good photographer, and it's like because he had like really good eyesight or something.
Is that Speed Grapher?
That's the other one with the guy Sui Tengu. He had the blood wings. But I know what you're talking about, and I don't think so. It was in like Jump for like a little while, and I think it got canceled.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a new one. It's like it's about hackers or whatever. It's very Persona, you know.
I think I've heard of that, or at least seen it.
It's like
Cause like I was telling you the other day, yesterday, I started reading that Jujutsu one.
Jujutsu Kaisen is a very good series.
Yeah.
Because
it's pretty good so far.
It's a very good series, and for those that don't know, since it just started, I can actually give you a synopsis. There's this guy. He's a part of the occult club. He meets one of his students, and he's a part of the Jujutsu Kaisen, which are exorcists essentially. They're looking for like this like gnarled finger of like some big bad demon guy. And the main guy actually he gets attacked by these demons because he has somewhat of spiritual energy. And then the student guy he meets has like really cool like hand puppet abilities, like shadow puppet powers, where he can like make wolves and like birds and shit out of it.
He's kind of like the Sasuke of the series, but not Sasuke. Yeah, he's like better developed Sasuke.
Yeah, he's like the rival character. What I'm assuming is going to be the Sasuke to his Naruto.
Yeah, it's still like it's very new at this point.
It's very, very new. So if you want to jump in on this, dude, you totally can. It's very new. Well, what happens, they find that the guy has the gnarled finger, and one of the demon guys comes to get it, because if you grab one of the fingers, you can raise your spiritual power. And the guy was like, well, what if I eat it? And then while he's grabbed by one of the monsters, he just throws it up and he eats it. And it's like, okay, just hope you don't die. And he doesn't die. Now he has the demon guy living inside of his body. And now they have to share a body, essentially, consciousness. And it's like, okay, well, now that we know that your body can survive, we need to get the other fingers now. Or we can kill you.
And the coolest thing, too, is he has an ultimatum. He can die now, or he can die later when they collect all 20 of the
fingers.
Of the cursed fingers that he uses to possess, become possessed by the demon dude. I forgot his name. I just started reading it last
I forget
night,
the guy's name also.
That's like, I hope that it doesn't go... I hope they don't go crazy with this, because it seems like people are loving the series so far, and it's going to get popular. But I really hope it doesn't become... to the point where it just extends it so long, where like they find all 20 fingers, is he gonna die? And then he doesn't die, and then some other stupid shit happens to like extend the plot. Like I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
because it seems like it has a really
like
good,
a very
like
tight,
solid,
like a very tight story.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he's gonna get like more techniques,
like
more things he can do in battle when he gets more fingers.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I'm assuming,
which is cool. But I hope they don't go crazy with that and like take it to like weird places that never get wrapped up or don't make any sense.
Because I do like the idea, but I don't want it to be like where it's like, okay, we got all 10 of them or 20 of them, and then it's like, oh, dude, you didn't know about the toes, and it's like, well, I guess we're getting the toes now, you know.
He mentioned the toes in the beginning in the first chapter. And they were like, no, he has 4 arms. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's keep it that way. Let's just make sure we don't go crazy with this.
Yeah. So like, I really do hope it does stay on track. And it's like, if he dies in the end, I'm not either way, because it could be just sort of like, I don't know, who knows? Maybe it could just be sort of a character arc thing. It's like, well, I've kind of lived my life. So okay, go ahead, you know, and
like what
something like that, you know.
Yeah, I think like if that happened, if he died, that'd be a different ending and not a very typical ending for shonen.
No,
so I think that'd be
cool. Would be pretty sweet
as long as they like completed his story arc and all that.
What's funny is a lot of people, when Bleach was actually ending, that's what they thought was gonna happen. They're like, dude, what if Yhwach just wins? Like, what if Ichigo just dies and Yhwach wins? And people were like, yeah, I mean, there is 3 chapters left. How are they going to fill it all? You know, and I was like, that's actually not that bad. I've never heard of that.
That would have been, yeah.
Like, I've never heard about that.
That would have been cool, and that would have been new. It just depends on what they would have done with it, and if there were like things that weren't wrapped up, which, I mean, he lived and there weren't. Yeah, and there was a lot of loose ends, but still. And Promised Neverland kind of did.
I also do I think that's the problem that I have with a lot of manga, because I read a lot of manga. I read more manga than I watch anime, and I hate it when a manga has a really good premise, but it's just executed so shitty that it's like, fuck, you could have had something here.
Yeah, I think God of High School kind of did that. I mean, this is just my opinion, but it had a really cool premise, but it wasn't really as hype as I thought it would be.
The anime is totally a different story, because the anime like tried to squish the entire God of High School arc into 12 episodes. You can't do that. There's so much shit in the actual webtoon that like you can't.
Is it still running, the webtoon?
Yeah, it's currently running. It's the author the author is on hiatus. It's on season 3, I think. Yeah, you can't do that. There's so much shit in the God of High School arc. You can't do that. Like,
yeah, that
impossible.
reminds me, I didn't actually read the God of High School manhwa or webtoons, so I did not know that. That makes a lot more sense now that I've...
I was so hyped. Yeah, as you can tell by my God of High School video, I was ready for it.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was ready for it. I was like, dude, this is gonna be the next big thing. like I'm already ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see stand accounts for Jin Mori on Twitter. Let's go. Let's do it. 12 episodes later. Fuck. You know, because they they really crammed shit in there. It's the worst.
I think that's kind of the opposite of something going stale, is when you just rush through the source material so quickly.
Yeah,
that you don't have time to breathe or even like understand what the hell's happening.
And because I remember one of my friends liked Ancient Magus Bride. He watched the anime and he's like, "Oh, I hear there's light novels and a manga." But the thing is that the ending to Magus Bride just kind of ends. And it's one of those fuck you, read the manga type endings, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Where it just sort of pans to the sky and that's it. And he's like, okay. But like, I never read Magus Bride because I don't know. I never got around to it.
Is that that's an anime, right?
Yeah.
Or it's based on a light novel?
It's based on a light novel that has a manga. You know, it's the guy with the skull face.
Okay.
And
that sounded so familiar, and I was trying to place where it was, and yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
He buys some girl off like a slave market, and he's like, "Yeah, you're my wife now." Only.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Small tangent. I like it when Japan makes stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, it's English," and it's like, Japan, you don't know anything about England, do you? Yeah, they drink tea, obviously, and it's like. I like it. I like it when Japan sees other countries. It's my favorite thing in the world.
I like it too with I think Banana Fish.
Yes, like, Banana Fish. I love it.
They didn't get New York correct very like the culture of it very well.
Like there are nobody screaming at anyone.
Yeah, it's just anime. It's just anime New York. It's just like this is Japan's perception of it, but it's so endearing because of that.
Yeah,
it's like more enjoyable.
I think Kekai Sansen was like that. Blood Blockade. Was like,
is that the one with the really dope ending?
Yeah, the
ending song.
The sugar song where they're all in the suits and stuff. Yeah, it's really good because the main guy he has what's called the God Eyes, which means he can see anything. Like he can like see through anything. Like he can tell someone's power. He can like he can see through like walls and shit. All this crazy stuff. And like of course a lot of people are like, dude, I want the God Eyes, so I need to catch this little white boy. It's great. I think that's the same thing where it's sort of like a Japan, like it's like Japan, New York. But then again, it's also like in the year 2050 where it's like, yeah, like another dimension like meshed with this one town in New York. And you have to like go through like all these barriers. And it's like, yeah, this is just a city now. Where like magic is like exists and like extra dimensional beings exist now, and it's like but it's only I think it's only like they quarantined it to this one town, and they're like you have to go through all this shit just to get in there. Yeah, and like people that live in there have like like super abilities, and like I think Yasuhiro Naito did the actual manga, the guy that did Trigun. And I was like, dude, I didn't know that. That's fucking sweet. But yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I think the actual manga is based on vampires or something. I remember hearing that. And I was like, that's wild. I don't remember that being in the anime. It makes sense why all the powers are blood-based. But But
all I know about that series is that the ending song's fire, and I've never actually watched it.
It's very good. I really like it.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I might have to check that out.
Most definitely.
But going back to like
totally.
series that were like really condensed, there's two that I can think of that like they had really dope mangas, but they squished like multiple story arcs into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And like I think Akira's one of those.
Oh yeah, Akira is like a dense fucking manga.
Yes.
It's like
I think it's over 2,000 pages if I remember right.
You can kill a guy with it just by my god, if you
I think I don't think they did a poor job adapting it with a film. The animation's amazing.
Oh, most definitely.
But they left out so much.
Oh yeah,
so much is left out of the pod.
Like it's just so much is condensed into that 2 hours. While it's an amazing, immaculate 2 hours, it's also
they did a really good job on
it's just sort of like
picking which parts.
It's just sort of like. As y'all probably know, Akira is famous for being a vision of what Japan thought we would be now in the 2020s actually. What Japan...
I mean, they did cancel the Olympics, so I mean...
yes, that's actually a part that everybody kept talking about. Because in Akira,
there
was the 2020 Olympics, and I think they got like, I think there was like a pipe bomb or something that disrupted it in the manga.
Yeah, and people were like protesting to just cancel it already, but they didn't actually. I don't recall them actually canceling it in the manga.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think that's just so interesting.
Yeah,
that
like-
they legit had to like
Yeah.
had the Olympics in Tokyo in
like,
2020
in 2020.
actually
You know, and it actually got
canceled it,
canceled.
which is
It's one of those weird Simpsons like predicted the future type things. But
yeah.
Akira is very famous, very iconic for being, because in the 80s, Japan had a very big problem with delinquents, because at that time it was
Yeah, the crime rate was
so
way
high,
higher.
and a lot of the Japanese youth was so disillusioned by their parents, because they're like, yeah, my parents may have had it good, but like, dude, like, and it's like because I think the bubble popped, right? The economic bubble popped, so a lot
Yeah,
of people were
yeah.
poor, and the crime rate went up, delinquents ran rampant, and so I don't remember the mangaka's name off the top of my head.
Otomo, I believe, is his. I think his last name's Otomo, if I remember.
Katsuhiro Otomo.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, he made this manga as this vision of like, yeah, this is what Japan will be like in 20 years, 30 years. You know, just bike gangs everywhere, people getting beat up on the street, just fucking terrible. There's a lot more shit. It goes a lot more in depth, a lot more character arcs. The movie just kind of like really does just kind of like, okay, we're gonna condense a lot of that shit in there. Another one that
Yeah,
also
exactly.
did this,
Like they sorry to
Oh, no
interrupt,
problem.
but like they did a good job world building.
Yes.
Like, you know, you what everything you explained about like the world of Akira,
yeah,
they did a really good job showing that
like,
with the
explaining
animation.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just condensing a story like that.
Oh yeah, that's very.
It's just it's a
atmospheric.
task. It's difficult.
Yeah. Another manga that also famously did this was the first Fruits Basket anime, where like
Yes.
Like, fucking,
I was
like-
gonna say that.
like half the Soma family wasn't even in the actual anime.
Yep, they didn't show a lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with like stuff later in the manga.
Oh yeah, I've read it.
But okay, cool. They foreshadow a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like they did a good job with this in the remake
Yeah,
anime. Like they added those scenes back.
yeah,
But
'cause,
it foreshadows a lot of stuff that just wasn't
And,
there in the anime, the original anime.
yeah, the original anime, like they foreshadow Akito, but I think they're only in like an episode where like he smacks Toru, and I think that's it. I think that's the only.
Yeah, I think they show him like once or twice.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been a while,
And then,
but I'm pretty sure.
Because you would always see, because he'd always be like that looming, threatening force that you'd see. Like, because he'd always be like resting he'd always be in shadow by the window. And I think the first time Toru comes by their house, he's just kind of like resting outside the window, and you just see him outside, and she's like, oh, who's that? And like, Shigure is like, yeah, don't worry about him, you know?
Yeah.
Or like, I think Kyo is like, yeah, don't worry about him. Or I think someone's like,
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it makes him really ominous.
Yeah.
And like, oh, don't worry about him. But in reality, yes,
Yeah.
worry about this person.
yeah. And he's
But yeah, they took out a lot of elements of Akito in the
yeah, they did, and like they didn't even have the rooster or the horse in the
yeah,
actual
that
anime.
kind of made me mad because the rooster, I forgot his name, but he's really interesting.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have the curse anymore.
yeah, he somehow was able to break it.
Yeah.
And, I think that happens to Momiji also. He was somehow able to break it also. So people are like,
I think so. It's been a while.
it's been a
but
very
I
long
think
time. I haven't read it since high school.
Yep.
But like,
Oh, same.
so like, so of course the Soma family was like, oh, so there is a way we can break it, and that becomes a big plot thread. And
Which is a good. That's the way to
Yeah.
like keep things going. Like
Yeah.
it's related to the original conflict. Like, oh,
Yeah.
the curse is like awful and we can't live a normal life with it. And then they have that, and it's like, oh, this just got interesting. There's
Yeah.
more to this curse than we thought, which is a good natural way to progress the plot, not like just add random bullshit everywhere. Like,
you know, the
like if they pulled a Dragon Ball, they'd have like, oh, there's more cursed people, and
it's like, oh, you
and
don't know about the Irish zodiac, and then you have like fucking like
Yep,
the
there we go.
and then it's like it's fucking that like yeah, and like but that was good because I liked the fact that Akito is actually a very good anime villain that not many people talk about. He's very slept on because
Yeah.
in the anime,
and they're not
particularly a villain.
textbook evil either,
Yeah,
which
like,
is cool.
Yeah, and like because in the original anime, he's always there. He's like always in the background. So he's kind of like this weird looming force that like makes you kind of tense because somehow he's always watching. And I liked that about the old
there's
anime.
something off, yeah.
Yeah, like there's something.
Yeah, me too.
Like I like that about the old anime because he'd always be there in the background, just watching you like a looming force, and that was very good and very subtle. That was also during the time of when anime dubs were pretty bad, so you get stuff like So you get like Kagura would be like Kagura, I think was her name in the English one.
Yeah, I think they just didn't. It was a mixture of not being aware of like pronunciation on top of not really being sure how to do the lip flaps correctly, because dubbing anime is a little tricky, and you have to like time it with the lip flaps, so they probably didn't know how to do it quite as well then that they where they can do it better now.
You'd have a lot of text being like lines being said while no one's around, while no one's lips are moving, that type stuff.
Yep.
But yes, he was very good, and just like a lot of stuff about the original Fruits Baskets was very good, because that was actually the first manga I read. That was like, because of course the Ritsu, the monkey, they're a crossdresser, I believe, female to male, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the official term.
Yeah, because
I'm not sure what the actual the orientation is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to be like. Very sort of cautious of like, I don't want to put any labels. Yeah. Like I'm not putting no labels on nothing. And so I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of ridiculous when they actually go through like censoring it for a Western audience, where like they took out Uranus and Neptune, I believe. Yeah, their relationship in Sailor Moon. Yeah, they made them cousins, which makes no sense and kind of makes it inappropriate, where the original really wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's iconic. That's an iconic thing. Because what's funny is I think Takeuchi at the time was like, there were no like gay relationships, and I wanted to change that. And I was like, nice. I like that.
Yeah, that's super before its time and super cool.
Yeah, for the time it was very cool. You still kind of don't have that outside of a fetishistic light.
I think going on a tangent myself, I think Clamp is really good with like just adding that in there casually, like Cardcaptor Sakura. Her brother and the brother's friend, like they're definitely got something going on, but
gay.
they don't hide it, and they don't exploit it either. So I think that's really, really cool of them. So I think that's important. Yeah. But going back to what the original point was, which I forgot.
They were talking about Fruits Baskets.
Oh, the adaptation. Yeah. Gotcha. No, they took out a ton of characters and just made the biggest thing, like, I know that the original anime did a pretty good job, but at the same time, there's more animals in the Chinese zodiac. Yeah. But within the 25 episode run, you don't see like the entirety
full pantheon of them.
Yeah.
And
so like it's lacking in that regard, and it's one of those things like Ouran, the original Ouran anime. I think they're making a new one. I heard rumors about that. Yeah. But they just cut it off. And then you're like, go find the manga.
Yeah, it's another one of those, fuck you, read the animes. But I believe in the actual Ouran ending, Haruhi and Tamaki actually get married. Like,
yeah.
I think it's
there's a bunch of really interesting things that happen, like the Hitachins. They have kind of they have their own little arc about their own identities. Yeah. One of them dyes their hair darker, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Like to differentiate each other.
Yeah, because they had the sort of, they kind of touched on that a little bit in the anime, like where they're like,
but it was kind of just a one-off episode that was kind of comedic
it was
like
very
whatever.
Light. Like it was very like,
yeah, I remember that episode, the one where they dye their hair pink and blue.
Yeah, and I think they kind of went into it a little bit, but they're like, that's all you get.
But it was mostly like at the end by the end of the episode, it was non-existent. It was just like, we're just fucking with you, whatever.
Yeah, and
it's just a prank.
Just a prank, bro.
Yep.
But that was good. That was also pretty good. And what was I gonna say? I'm forgetting.
Do you want to move on to games now?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So along with that, there is a few games that tend to drag on, a few game series. This can be like game plots or just gameplay in general, but I think there's a lot of those, just as much as anime, in my opinion. Do you have any you think of yourself, Shiba?
I'm not a full expert on this. I'm I'm an outside looking in perspective. I kind of think it's Sonic in a way.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to you about this
yeah.
off podcast, where I like Sonic in the sense of I'm an outside looking in person, where I see a lot of people talk about Sonic, and I kind of made my own opinions about it through watching gameplay or watching people do Let's Plays or streams or whatever. It's just sort of like, a lot of the times, people want Sonic to be like, it's sort of the Power Ranger problem. You know, it's something you grew up with, so you kind of want the material to grow up with you. But that's the thing.
Yeah, I see that.
But it's like, that's the thing though. That market isn't for you anymore. You outgrew it by purpose of being an adult now. You can like that thing, but it doesn't have to grow up with you. Because
like Pokemon, the Pokemon anime is a good example of that, which I was gonna say earlier, but
yes,
Pokemon just, Ash is never gonna grow up. We just gotta face
like,
the facts here.
It's like, guys, it's okay. It's not going to happen. Just stop. And also with the people like, dude, they should make like a new Pokemon and like it should be like dark and have blood and like Ash should swear a lot.
Or another evolution.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like you can tell by the tiredness in my voice.
That would just butcher Pokemon. It's just
It would be terrible. It would be so laughable that I'd be like, oh, so this is a joke, right? I wouldn't take it seriously because it's like, as you can tell by the tiredness in my voice.
It would be like the Shadow the Hedgehog.
It would be terrible
game
because
of the Pokemon franchise.
Because it would be stupid, like just full on
awful.
stupid.
It'd be a hellscape.
Because as you can tell by the tiredness in my voice, I hear this a lot in the Toku community because a lot of people are like, dude, this new Kamen Rider season, it's gonna be totally sweet. It's gonna be for us guys that are fully adults, not Japanese elementary school students, you know.
I mean, it's cool. Like, I mean, they can nod to the older
like,
fan
you
base.
can.
Like, I know Pokemon kind of does that. They acknowledge like the Gen 1ers as they are called.
Yeah.
But I mean, you gotta understand that the fan base is more broader than just the original fans. And while they'll nod to you and why they appreciate you, you gotta kind of accept that things aren't gonna be tailor made for adults when it's a series made for a younger audience. And I mean, Kamen Rider has been going since like the 70s, right?
70s,
so,
yes, 69, 70.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna change that formula anytime soon.
They're like, people so badly want there to be a dark Kamen Rider when it's like, guys, that's not going to why would they? Okay, let me break it. It's like let me break it down for the audience here. Like, for this fictional person I'm going to talk to, why would the Japanese company, I forget their name, I'm a fake fan, obviously.
Toho?
But,
is it Toho? I'm not completely affluent in the...
Toho, I think, is Godzilla. But
that's Godzilla. Yeah, I was thinking maybe they did other stuff.
I forget the name of the... I want to say Toei, but it's not Toei. That's Precure.
Yep, that's the animes.
Yeah.
Animus.
Yes. Why would a Japanese company showing and selling toys to Japanese children tailor make a Japanese series for an American adult audience? You see how stupid that sounds, right? And it's
no, it makes no sense.
It's like, but see, with the amass of people wanting adult toku, you have adult tokus like Garo, you know, the Golden Knight Garo, which is an amazing series.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the only alternative is them making a series that's completely intended for adults. Like this has nothing to do with Kamen Rider or any kind of Super Sentai type show, but do you remember that adult Ren and Stimpy they made
the adult
years
party
ago,
cartoon.
like 2005?
The adult party cartoon.
Like,
it was terrible. Terrible.
That's a good example of trying to appeal to an adult audience.
Yeah.
But just making a complete mess of it. Like just butchering it.
It's like it's terrible. That's sort of how I feel with the Sonic fandom, because it's like, okay, I get that you guys want to have a cool, gritty Sonic, but just make your own fan works.
There's plenty of those.
Oh, you know it. Just like some that are a little more intimate than others.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like, there's things that cater to the Sonic community, like the comic.
Yeah.
Like, if they want that itchy bullshit, they can
just read the comic.
They can read the comic, and the reboot of the comic that's going on right now, it's really good because I started reading it myself. So
I've heard.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big Sonic fan. I still kind of am, even though I will admit the games aren't what they used to be, and I love Sonic Adventure, and I admit that that's not the best Sonic game.
Yeah.
And it hasn't aged well. But I'm still a big Sonic fan. I want that Sonic Adventure 3. That's probably never gonna happen, but I see its faults.
Because I just see it like that, where it's like, guys, he was meant to just be like a cute little guy that like
a mascot,
that, you know, that ran really fast and he helped other woodland creatures. That's cool in and of itself, but I think it's because, no, I'm not gonna open that can of worms. So,
that might be another episode for another day.
I ain't opening that shit right now. When we have more of a fan base, I'll do that. Yeah, and it would be like Bomberman. Like, remember when they made a edgy Bomberman?
Or Mario. Or like making an edgy Mario.
Yeah, remember when they did make an edgy Bomberman though? It was like Bomberman X.
I do vaguely, yeah.
And remember how dumb that? Remember how fucking stupid that was? Where it's like, dude, he's a cute little guy that places bombs, and you know, that's it. You know, now he's in like a hyper realistic like, you know, death game tournament, and it's like, no.
Yeah, it's like, why?
Like,
why is this necessary?
And like, I get that, like, it's just sort of the thing that, like, this is purely my opinion. I think people are afraid to say that they like something childish when they're older. I honestly think that.
I think that's the biggest thing with that is that's more of an American or Western mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you look at, like, if you compare, like, advertising for Kirby or Sonic when they first came out.
Yeah.
They try to make them edgier, less cute.
Yeah, of course, the meme of, you know, Kirby's fucking pissed, you know. Yeah, in Japan, they make him cute. That's okay. But then they give him the angry eyes in the US because that just sells to Americans, I guess. And I think that's because of just the American mentality, like you were saying, that it's just people are ashamed to like kiddish things because they feel that they're not adult for liking them, you know. That's why when people like,
they feel a sense of embarrassment.
Yeah.
And just it kind of reminds me of, there's this term Quentin Tarantino uses called the animation ghetto. Where people assume that anything that's animated is intended for children. And that's primarily a Western mentality. People in Japan don't really think that. So, definitely a Western kind of mindset with feeling embarrassed or not wanting to like something because it's cute or animated. That kind of stuff.
But yeah, it's like when you look at, of course, Power Rangers stuff aimed for the older demographic, like the Boom comics or the Marvel comics of Power Rangers. Of course, what do they have? They have a guy, and he's like super big and evil, and he's called the Dragon Killer, and he like kills other Power Rangers.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
why does it need this? It's like, oh yeah, but we get Sentai's that we didn't get in the US. It's like, yeah, but just watch Power Rangers, bro.
It's like, is it worth it though? At what cost? Like, is this enjoyable to watch, or is this just like,
it's just your
panhandling to like people who are older, just trying to get them to watch it and just giving them what they want without any like inspiration and uniqueness to it. Like, it doesn't have the charm that the original series had. It's just trying to appeal to people.
Because as a massive Toku fan, I get why I like Toku. I know why I like Toku, and I understand. Like, yeah, it's kind of a hard sell to tell to people. I have tried to get people into Toku. It's a hard sell. Because it's like, yeah, there's this guy, and he has like a belt, and he can turn into like a cool armor dude, and he like beats other like guys in rubber suits, and he gets like cool attacks. It's pretty sweet, and they have really overpriced toys. It's total tits. You're gonna love it. And you have to be a very specific person to like this type of stuff, because you have to like,
exactly.
You just have to like dudes punching each other to like it. And I get that. And I also understand that, yeah, it's nowhere near my demographic, but I can enjoy it just the same because I know what I'm getting into, you know? But yeah.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into, and you know, it's an acquired taste, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of like how JoJo, that's not for everyone.
Yeah, like, you have to be a very certain kind of person to like JoJo's.
You have to have a very specific sense of humor and a very specific kind of taste to really appreciate the masterpiece that is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But, you know, that's just my opinion.
But yeah, like...
Oh, we were talking about games, though.
Oh, yeah, games, right. I fucking go off on a tangent on Kamen Rider. This is what happens
It's
when you
alright,
don't let me.
it's a podcast.
This is what happens when you don't let me have a script. I'm just untamed. But yeah, that's just how I feel about Sonic games, because a lot of them now are just like, they try to have these big epic stories and like, or just like, it's like, ah man, Sonic's now like a war general or some dumb shit. And it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
with forces.
yeah, and it's like,
where it's like it's almost like post-apocalyptic, and they're trying to do the freedom fighter things that the Sad AM cartoon kind of did,
Yeah.
but modernized.
it's like,
But they didn't really go about it right.
it's like, dude, I just want to run fast and I want to collect rings and I want to fight dudes.
Yeah.
That's all. I just want to go.
I mean,
Super Saiyan.
you don't see Mario like starting a interdimensional war or like
You know,
some like super convoluted crap that makes no sense. Like, you don't expect Mario to do that. Mario just jumps and saves Peach and
You
rinse and repeat. Like, that's what you don't want new story
you just
BS. You want like new innovations that are fun. Like the Cappy thing in Odyssey was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a good
Flood
innovation.
in Sunshine was fun. That's when innovation is
like,
fun and
Yeah.
necessary. But when it's just stupid story plots or just a weird aesthetic thing, like don't get me started on Sonic Boom, but
Yeah.
everything about that's just a shit show. But just you want to improve the gameplay in ways that's true of the original but fun. Just like in anime or manga, you want to improve upon that plot, but you want it to make sense to like the initial starting point of that series.
and I guess that's also a way of saying that like, that's why Mario has lasted so long, because he's just stayed the same guy for like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like 30 years. You know,
I think the one exception to that is when they did Super Mario Strikers.
Yeah,
And tried to make it kind of edgy.
yeah.
But that's a
'cause-
spin-off.
yeah, that's
and
a
I
spin-off.
mean, you know.
And of course, you know, stuff like that. But like, that was because it was a soccer game, and it was like, you know, they tried to make him like cool, and that's where you would see in that universe, Mario can't be cool. I'm sorry to say it. He can't, like,
Yeah.
It's always weird seeing like when people try to make Mario look like super cool and badass, like they make his shirt all
It
ripped
doesn't
up.
make any sense.
They make his shirt all ripped up, and it's like, but they still give him the big fucking bulbous ass nose, and it's like, like-
and the mustache.
and the mustache, and like his big gut, and it's like, no, he's a fat guy.
He's supposed to be endearing and cute and
Like-
likable and recognizable, like Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
or Snoopy. Like, don't do that to Mario. It's just it's not gonna work out good.
And like, it's just, yeah, that shit just doesn't work. But yeah, and like, that's also like, I know people complain and say like, oh, they keep reselling the same Mario game. It's like, yeah, because people keep buying it, you know.
And it's fun. It's still interesting.
It's
Like
still pretty good.
Odyssey, like they legitimately have a good what's the word? They have a good flow of progression and things just naturally getting better. Like, I played Odyssey a couple years ago when it came out, and then I borrowed my friend's Super Mario Sunshine disc because I really wanted to play Super Mario Sunshine, and in my mind I was like, that game is so good. And then I play it, and this was before the whatever 3D All-Stars collection, but it's just the camera angles are kind of crappy. The platforming is meh. It's not a very long game. I remember it being much longer. And I'm just thinking, like, this is good. Like, it was a good game for its time, and as time goes on, like, the Mario games just get more fluid, get more solid, like, as far as gameplay. And that's the kind of progression that's necessary, but not like, you don't have to change the plot, but you can, like, you can change up just gameplay elements, just make it more fun, because that's all it is. It's just supposed to be fun.
It's just supposed to be innovative, you know. And
Yeah, exactly.
you know, stuff like that. And of course, gotta talk about Pokemon at some point, because
Oh god,
because
yep.
I mean,
that will have to be an entire episode, because I can go on
it's entire
for years about Pokemon.
episode in and of itself. But just a small little bit of, you know, I don't know how you can else go when you have every human emotion, all the seasons, fire, water, lightning 4 times, and then like, I think, like, what's the fucking, like, life and death and rebirth, and then of course the Taoism of both life and death, and then whatever Qrem was, and then like fire, ice, lightning.
It sounds like yeah, it just, they had like a fucking Satan Pokemon too with Giratina.
Yeah, Giratina. Oh yeah,
And that was just like
Heaven and Hell,
Giratina,
right?
yeah.
And
yeah, and that was just like, is this necessary? Like, what the hell? We have to do an episode about Pokemon, so I guess we'll just kind of tease it here.
Oh yeah, like that's what I was just giving a little bit. But I was like, just quick run through.
I have such a love-hate relationship with Sword and Shield right now.
Yeah, I have a very strange relationship with Pokemon, because like I know a lot of people that are very that are into the VGC, the competitive Pokemon, and
I was one of those people.
I know nothing about it. Like it goes right like
it's so. There's just so much to it. It's ridiculous.
People have tried to explain it to me. They're like, yeah, because there's EVs and then there's IVs and then you could be this one. And it's like, why? Okay, it's like, oh, but you can't. It's like, oh, can I see this anywhere in game? No, it's invisible. You have to like mod your game to see the EVs. It's like, then why does it matter?
Yeah,
like,
it's
and like, of course, this is coming from me, someone that knows nothing about VGC. Like
yeah.
But yeah.
End of the day, like EV training, IVs, all that. End of the day, you're gonna be spending hours on end. Breeding Pokemon, leveling them up by fighting with specific Pokemon like for them to get the correct EV. Long story short, you're going to be spending a very long time building a team.
Yeah,
like a long time.
And like apparently there's more Pokemon that are more competitively viable than other Pokemon, and it's like that's where the meta comes from. And it's like, but then it's like, of course I play Yu-Gi-Oh, so I know all about metas, but it's like it goes right through me. I don't understand it. Several people have tried to explain it to me. I don't understand
I will attempt to explain it better when we do that episode, because that is such an elaborate subject in itself. I was super into it, like in high school. I almost went to one of the tournaments. It was a whole thing.
It was a thing and a half. But
I mean, linking that to what we're talking about now.
Back.
I think that, like, as far as games go, like, Pokemon adds so much innovation. Some of it's cool. It's kind of hit and miss. Like I said, like, I have such a love-hate relationship with Sword and Shield, because I think it's so cool that they're finally doing expansions, but at the same time, this is not what I expected a home console, like official home console, not like Coliseum or XD, but like an official home console Pokemon game. RPG. I thought, like, because you have the free roaming with the wild areas.
Yeah.
This isn't what I expected it to be. I expected it to be so much more. And, like, they do a lot of really cool things, but they don't really stick to them, like Mega Evolution, that super move thing they had in Sun and Moon.
Oh yeah, the Z moves.
You know what I'm talking?
The Z moves were my favorite. They were my.
Those were dope, and I'm really sad they didn't keep they just keep changing things for each region, which I think is good, but I think at the same time it's just all over the place. I'm gonna love Pokemon forever. Like, I played literally every mainline RPG, but I just it could be so much better. There's just so much that is drawing out and getting a little stale, but at the same time they're making an effort to make it fresh. I just don't know if they're making the right efforts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, it's just sort of I have a very weird relationship with Pokemon, because like I played all of the games, but I'm not like a gigantic fan of them per se. It's another one of those outside looking in sort of things. Where like I know all the shit about it, but like I wouldn't say I'm particularly a fan of it per se, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think it's a long running series. It's been going since I was like 5 in America, at least, like since like 1998.
Oh yeah.
And 96 in Japan, I believe.
96,
and it's hard to keep it going because it's not Mario. It has a lot more to it than Mario. It's not just like...
It's very much...
simple.
It's more complex than just guy jumps on turtle, you know?
It has its own lore. It has its own... I mean, we're getting into anime lore and manga lore. The manga is pretty dope if anyone hasn't read it.
Oh, yeah. Read the Adventures manga. Like, it is so good.
So good.
If you, like, for the people that want the dark, gritty Pokemon, read Adventures. It's, like it has, like... it's great. Cannot recommend it enough.
I know we shit on like making things dark, but the Pokemon Adventures manga is an example of a
Like, it's very
darker take that is really good.
like
I would say that's the exception.
it's more it's very tasteful in what it does, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, it's not like too edgy. It's just
like-
realistic. It's real and it's
It's like, no, this is what a real Pokemon world would be like, and it's very good.
Yeah.
It's because like there's actual character arcs, and there's like, I think like there's like, no, like there would be crime syndicates like this, and yeah, they're
Yeah,
crime
no,
syndicates. So yeah, people are gonna die, you know, and so it's very good.
They take the darkness. Yeah. They take the darkness of Team Rocket from the original like Red and Blue,
Yeah,
and they take it a step further. They
Yeah.
make it palpable. They make it tangible and like realistic in an actual story.
oh yeah, like and also just the characters like Red, Green, and the like. I know Red.
They're very well developed. Like what's her name? Green? Is Green the girl or is Green the guy? I forgot.
Okay, that's where things get dicey, because people are like, no, Blue's the name of the guy, Green's the girl. In the original,
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that's what I thought.
original,
Because I
in
think
the-
Blue's the Gary Oak character, right?
yeah, in the original,
Yeah.
like original manga, Green is the guy, like the Gary character, and Blue is the girl character, who is supposed to be, I think in the original Red and Blue, they were supposed to have a female option, and that's why she's in the manga. But then they kind of nixed it, and then that's why in Soul
Yeah,
Silver,
probably time constraints,
Yeah.
budget. That makes sense.
and then in Silver version, that's when they're like, oh, you could be a girl now, you know?
Oh,
like,
Crystal, yep.
yeah, and so she
That
was,
that got me so hype. Like when I first saw that, like 9-year-old me was like, they know girls like this.
it's like, they know girls can play Pokemon,
But yeah, going back to the point, I think that there's just so much lore in Pokemon between the games, the spin-off games, the manga, the anime. There's just so much where like it can't be simple like Pokemon. Not Pokemon.
Like
it can't be
Mario.
simple like Mario. Yeah,
'Cause it's
it just can't. Zelda's another good example of that, but I think they do well with how they introduce a new Link in each series because the
yeah.
incarnations of the hero, how they change Hyrule over time, like in Wind Waker it's all water. I think that's amazing. I think that's a really good way to go about it because
and,
again, it's a series. Sorry to keep interrupting.
oh,
you,
no problem.
but I think it's a good way to introduce a story that's been going since the late 80s, like Mario. I
Yeah.
think 87's when Zelda came out in Japan. And just make it fresh. Like they changed the art style. I know people like gave Nintendo shit about the Wind Waker when they first announced it, but
Oh, yeah.
it ended up being super
Oh,
dope. Like
Toon Link is now like beloved. It's an icon now. Like Wind
Yeah, I
Waker,
know,
it's
it's,
an icon now. Because I was in middle school. No, I was in middle school.
Yeah, no.
And people were like, "Dude, this is lame," and like
I
now
was
he's an
I was
icon
kind
now.
of I got to admit I was kind of one of those people. And then Twilight Princess got announced, and I would bring like my Nintendo powers to school and be like, "Look how cool Link is
like,
now!"
look how
and
cool
just, like,
he is.
shove it in people's face who didn't give a shit about video games in general. I was like, "Oh my god, look!" And then it came out, and it was just
I was like,
not as good as Wind Waker.
I've never been into. I'm not really one for Zelda because my brother is super into Zelda. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loves the shit out of some Zelda. Yeah, it's just but like I think also the good thing about Zelda is that like it's like Dark Souls in a way where like the lore
Yeah.
is like kind of backpedaled to the game, you know, because like you
Exactly,
can look up the
it-
lore
it-
if you want to know.
It
the
complements
lore.
the game.
Yeah, like where like yeah, you play the game and all this stuff, you get all this stuff surface value, but then if you want to know like the other stuff, it's like oh, then you know about the timelines and the mark of the hero and the like and the such like that, and how like
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's like a theory that like the bird people are actually like the Zoras, but they like
Yeah,
but
yeah, they evolved.
over time to be bird people, and
I
like,
just I saw a meme about that the other day where it's like the whole world's water now. Let's evolve and turn into birds.
that's what
And
I was
just
like,
has like pictures.
that's what I was
Oh,
thinking.
sorry,
of.
go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying. I was like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wouldn't it be more beneficial for fish people?
Yeah, I mean, it would add a cool dynamic. I don't know if you play Breath of the Wild, but like there's this one small portion where you ride on a Zora to get into one of the temples, which are like divine beasts or like mechanic animal things, and it's just such a cool mechanic, and you only see it in like that one specific part. But that and Wind Waker would be like, that would be amazing.
I like the Breath of the Wild Zoras because they just have an entire shark on the back of their head. That's
yeah,
like,
I like Sidon so much. His design's so cool.
Because I was thinking that would be like a human having an entire human on the back of their head, which is
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
That's funny to me.
Yeah, no, they're among my favorite Zora designs, and the bird people, the Rito in Breath of the Wild, are pretty.
Yeah,
dope
that's
too.
what they were called, the Rutos. I was like,
Yeah, Ruto or Rito, I forgot.
yeah, I was like, I was like, that's
I've put 200 hours into Breath of the Wild, and I can't even remember what they're called off the top of my head right now.
Oh, it's okay. I'm like that where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of that, and then it's like I can't tell you what their names are though. That's how I was with Homestuck. Yeah, I'm one of those dirty Homestucks.
Oh god.
Where I'd be like, yeah, I'm a really
that's
big fan of
another-
it. So what happens in it? I could not tell you. You know.
Stuff happens.
Oh, it's like I could not tell you for the life of me.
But yeah, other games, like I had it off the top of my head. What was it? Have you started playing Yakuza, right?
Yes, I now play the Yakuza games now.
Like a Dragon.
Yes.
Have you played the mainline ones?
No, but I hear they're good. Like the PS2
They're
ones.
very okay. I will stand for Yakuza any day of the week. But the combat mechanic, if you play these games, because there's 6 mainline games. If you play, let me think. No, there's 7 because 0, I believe. So if you play these one after another, it gets so repetitive with the combat system. It's a good combat system. It's really fun. It's kind of like in like a Dragon, where you can use like bikes and crap and just like beat the shit out of people with random stuff.
Isn't the fighting system like a Musou style? Like
Yeah.
Like, you can just go
not
around
really,
and just punch
not
people?
not really as elaborate.
Yeah.
But it gets so repetitive. Because
Yeah.
I was super into I got into Zero a couple years back, and I just was like, this is amazing because the story in Zero, like, it's my favorite Yakuza game. It has such an amazing story. Like a Dragon has an amazing story too. And like I think every Yakuza game has a really amazing story, but the thing is the combat, the punching and the constant punching, and then there's characters with guns in the series too. And when you're just punching, because it's not turn-based, it's like a beat 'em up kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like you can run around. Like it's like a Kingdom Hearts style. You know, you can run around.
Kinda, yeah, but it's more gritty, more realistic.
Yeah.
And it's just when some dude's shooting at you at the top of the stairs and you can only use your fist or like a baseball bat, it's like, I hate this. And it's just so repetitive. And then you kind of figure out the rhythm of the game and how it works with like what to expect as far as who you're going to fight. And that part gets repetitive, and when I was like getting kind of burnt out on Yakuza, I got to a point where I was like, I'm going to get through this to know what the hell happens because I don't want to look up a Let's Play. I want to like finish this game out, but it's something that I'm not entirely enjoying at this point. Yeah. Which, if you took a break between games, you could definitely like enjoy it more, but I feel like it will get stale if you play them all at once.
Yeah, if you play it in all in
if that
one
makes sense.
If you play it like in one big like sitting, I guess you could say, then yeah, I could see that. I did that with Samurai Warriors, like the original ones. And I could see that.
Similar kind of deal.
I was talking about this with you outside of the recording, but yeah, I'm a very big fan of Musou games. They're like my favorite types. But yes, playing them for like, I think someone had a review of saying like Sengoku Basara 3 is the greatest 20 minutes you will ever have in your life.
Yeah.
And that is a very apt description.
Very true.
Because Musou games, they do have a time limit. You can only do you can only just punch ways.
You can only do the same thing for so long.
Yeah, but then there's people that are like, oh, but like you just need to. It's like, yeah, you can vary up your combos and stuff, but it just gets to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done. You know, I'll just play
exactly.
later. They're not meant to be played in long bursts. You know,
it's like the video game equivalent of sugar.
Yeah.
If you eat too much sugar at once, you're gonna get a stomach ache, and it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah, so it's like.
But when you want sugar and you eat the sugar, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just sort of
for a short period of time.
Yeah, so it's just sort of like, you know.
Yeah, it's just you can't binge them. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, like they're not meant to be played in long terms, only short spurts, you know.
And I mean, there are people that will play these games non-stop. Like, this is very different from Yakuza, but Splatoon. I made friends on my Switch that, from Splatoon, and they, since like 2017 when Splatoon 2 came out, they still consistently play Splatoon like almost every day.
Yeah, like I can't do that. Like I'm a bad person with that. Cause like I can't play a game every day because I'm afraid that I'll get bored with it and I'll never want to play it again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like if you play it too much, you're gonna get bored. But then there's those people that will play it all the time. I think a lot of League fans are kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Where like it's the same thing every day, but they still like they can't get enough of it. Which, that's cool. But a lot of people, like, you know, myself included, like you sometimes you just get bored of it. I mean, I can talk about Kingdom Hearts forever too, because the lore to that is just, I'm so confused. I'm so eternally confused by the lore and the plot of that game.
I could talk
at the same time,
forever
I love it so
about
much.
some Kingdom. Oh, don't worry. I know the ins and outs of all the lore of Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, seriously?
So I could do like a dissertation on Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because I'm a big dumb idiot that likes really big deep lore. You know, that's really stupid.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm such a fan of Metal Gear.
Yes, that's another good one.
While Metal Gear is a great, amazing series, iconic.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the greatest. But it is also fucking stupid.
It is, but it really was like going back to series that were kind of pioneers for certain elements. Like, it really did perfect the cinematic elements of video games. Like the second one, that just so good.
Oh yeah, MGS2 is amazing. It's great because it is very because Kojima is a madman, is like a fucking crazy person, and he was like, and he just like it's great. It's amazing. And MGS4 is one of the greatest games possibly ever. And I think it's actually like, this isn't a meme or a joke. I think it's literally in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest cutscenes in a game. Because
it is. I saw that on Did You Know Gaming said that.
A lot of people have the meme of like moving Snake over to some guy and then just grabbing some popcorn out and watching it. And
which is cool though.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. It's I could talk forever about Metal Gear, but yeah, it's
it's not something, like you said about Pokemon. It's not something I'm particularly crazy about, but I do appreciate it and like it.
Yeah. I could talk forever about Metal Gear because it's really good. Once you get past, I'm sure it's like this in Yakuza, where like if you get past the weird eccentricities of it. Of like, it's funny because he's Fat Man and he rolls on skates. But once you get past that, then you start getting into the really good themes of like war profiteers and like, you know, what does it mean to be a soldier? Should there even be like people that police the world? You know, stuff like that. It's very good.
Exactly, yeah. Yakuza is definitely a lot like that.
Yeah, like from what I heard.
A lot of people either assume it's going to be like the Japanese equivalent of a
like
Mafia game. Or GTA, which it's definitely not.
It's like I heard it's a very like the story is amazing. I hear it's like it's very good. It's like a very it's just very much like I can't tell you the themes because I haven't played it.
You've played the new one,
yeah,
right?
Like a Dragon. Yeah, I've played like a Dragon. So
the story, you know how you get really invested in the characters right away in that one?
Yeah.
It's like that with every single Yakuza game.
Oh yeah, because
the characters are just so well written in that. It's just, like I said, there's either people who think it's like a GTA type game, or there's people that just see all the memes and all the weird crap that's in it and don't take it seriously. But once you get into that plot, like, you 100% take it seriously. There's just so much to it.
It's like once you get past its weird eccentricities, then you can see the true thing lying beneath.
It grows on you. Beneath. Yeah, it's definitely one of those series that grow on you. Have you ever played the Ace Attorney games?
I've only seen the movie.
Oh, real? There's a movie?
Yeah, there's the live-action movie. I think I played one of them. I don't remember which one it is. It's pretty good. I like it.
Oh, nice. That's one where it's an acquired taste, where you kind of gotta stick with it for a little bit before you get to the good stuff. When I was younger and I started playing it, I had like a demo on like my DSi, like it goes back that far. No, it was a demo from, do you remember WiiWare?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember when you could like download demos onto your DS and like play them?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was that. And I was like 12, I think, and I was just like, this is boring. But then I like did it again as an adult and got into the plot and like all the interesting elements and how the plot ties together, especially in the first game.
Yeah.
It's very good. I feel like in the later games, like I want to say like 4 or 5 onwards, it gets a little weird. It goes through a lot of weird stuff that like doesn't really fit the flow of the game. But at the same time, like you appreciate the storytelling of it. Even though it's literally just a light novel and you're looking at like landscapes and just people talking with the same sprites over and over, it has its charm to it.
Yeah, I can see that. And just like but yeah, and like I think the Meiji era one came out in the US or is coming Western side, I think.
Yeah, that's actually kind of funny going back to localization because all the characters in the English version have horrible puns as names. The Japanese version is no exception. And I think they used a variant of Phoenix Wright's Japanese name as the ancestor's name.
Yeah,
in the localized version.
Which is funny because in the English version, of course, everybody knows that they're in Japanifornia. You know.
Yeah, they're like in Los Angeles in the English version, I think.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense at all because friggin' Maya, the assistant, is like she's literally super Japanese in her design. She has like a friggin' Magatama on her neck, like. It's like Pokemon localization. It's just like, let's make it American.
Yeah, she's I think she's like an aestheticist or something. Like a shrine maiden.
She can channel the dead, which becomes an element in later games.
But yes, and she's like, that's the weird part. The thing that's weird about them bringing the Meiji era one is they can't just say, oh, this is 1800s America, because
yeah, they cannot.
1800s America looked very different to 1800s Japan, you know, and so
it was
would
definitely
be funny.
Westernized by that point. Like 1800s Japan definitely was Westernized, but it was still Japan. It was still 110% Japan.
Yeah, it was just very much a like that, and it's just very funny. It's like, okay, asshole, let's see you get out of this one, you know?
I don't think they need to localize it. I think they felt like they needed to localize it early on, but they don't need to. Like, people love Japanese shit now. I
think they just do it now for the meme, I think.
Yeah, which is funny, and I appreciate it. And if they, like, stop doing it now, it'd make no sense, so.
Yeah, it would be very much like, wait, what the fuck? Who's this Naruhodo guy?
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
It's like, who's Ryunosuke Naruhodo? It's like,
yeah, I love how his name's literally Naruhodo too, because like,
yeah, like, I'm bad at Japanese, but
I'm trying to think of it because I
think that means like, I think that means like, is that right?
No wonder, or oh, that's right. That's
yeah,
basically it has multiple meanings depending on context.
Well, everyone, thank you for listening to this podcast of ours, and also you can now follow us on our new shiny social media accounts at Sugoi Saga on Twitter, at Sugoi Saga on Instagram, and you can also follow us, your hosts, at Shiba King Beast.
Twitter is at Sakura Stardust, 2 A's in Stardust. Links will be in the description, of course, and you can also follow us, of course, on our own dedicated YouTube channels.
Yes, mine is Shibuya Laguna. I do those story animations, and also I talk about, you know, anime and like monsters and cultural things and the like. I do videos on anime and Nintendo related things. And that's about it. That's my main subject matter. But if you like listening to my awkward ass voice, go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, and yep, I will see you guys in the next podcast, and I hope you guys did like this. And if you guys have any topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, go ahead and comment them, and we will take a look. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Yeah, see you. Bye, guys.